Hello, everybody. It's Rowdy, and welcome to Humanity, the series that I've been wanting to do on YouTube for so freaking long. This is a series that I have written. I'm going to be narrating it. It's inspired by The Walking Dead, however, it's its own thing. It's its own characters, its own plot, and it's in a separate universe as well. So, I'll try to explain more at the end of the video. But for now, let's just start with the series premiere, Season 1, Episode 1, which is titled Pilot. We open the series on a shot of the city of Boston in the state of Massachusetts. And there is something going on here. And we're seeing the streets, and there is just havoc. There's civilians running, and there is riots going on. There's buildings being looted. And we have police, SWAT officers, and even military running around trying to keep the peace and stop civil unrest. But we don't exactly know the full situations, except for the fact that we do hear gunshots going off. And people are running, screaming, as a group of civilians runs down another street and is greeted by 3 military trucks. And a bunch of soldiers come out of these trucks and they aim their weapons. And they mow all of these civilians down. No remorse. Cut to the intro. So we begin the episode with the main character of the series. This is Alex Cordon. He is 14 years old. He gets up out of his bed and he leaves his room. And we just see a bit of a montage of him getting ready for school for the day. Nothing super crazy happens. It's just mainly kind of an intro to the character. We're seeing some stuff in his everyday life. And then he goes into the garage of his house and he grabs his bike and he leaves the house and starts riding down the road. I would probably have happy music playing during this just to have this vibe of happiness and almost normalcy, kind of contrasting the crazy opening we had. And kind of this idea of it can only go so well for so long. And we're going to see how bad things are going to get as we go on later in the season. So we see him bike all the way to school. And we see him that he does arrive at school. And he parks his bike and he uses a chain to lock it. And then he goes up to the door of the school and he walks in. And then it's just inside. We just see people walking around, chatting, just normal teenager stuff. And obviously, this is a middle school since Alex is a middle schooler. And this is his last year, and it's around June. Right now, it's June of 2019, and he's about to finish the school year. He walks down the hallway to go to his locker, and then he runs into this girl whose name is Cassie. This is one of his friends, and he asks her how she's doing and brings up that he hasn't seen her in a few days. And Cassie tells Alex that her father is in the hospital and she's just been spending time with him, so she hasn't been at school. Alex asks if her father is okay. Cassie says that he's fine, he's just really sick, but the doctor said he'll make a full recovery. But now she's back and she's glad to be back so they can all hang out again. Alex says that him and the others are sitting together at lunch. And if she wants, she can come sit with them because they're going to be making plans for the summer break to see what they could do together. Alex wishes her father well, and then he grabs his stuff from his locker, and then he walks away. He enters one of his classes, his first class of the day. It's history class. Well, history class. And he sits down at his desk, and there's around 20 20 to 21 students in the class. And then a teacher walks in. This teacher is named William, but the students refer to him as Mr. Quartz, because like Quartz is his last name. And he comes in and he takes attendance. And we'd probably have like a sort of montage, of him calling each student name. But then he would call on one girl. I don't exactly have a name for her, but he would call on this one student and she would be absent. And he would ask if anybody knows about her whereabouts, and then one student said that she's out sick. But the teacher would bring up that it's kind of weird because this student has always had perfect attendance all year, and they've never missed a day. So he says it's kind of funny that, well, she didn't show up. The teacher marks her as absent, and after everybody else is confirmed to be present, he tells everybody to calm down, completely take their seats, and he would say that they need to follow some material before the exam in a few weeks. Probably less than a few weeks, like a week, since obviously they're not going to be able to use their notes. So he tells them that they're going to get some last minute studying in so they can do good on this test and have a good summer and not have to repeat their school year. We jump a few hours later where Alex goes outside to a bunch of tables to meet with his friends. And then we have a couple people here. We have Mike, and this is Alex's best friend. They're really tight and they've known each other since childhood. We have Corey, who is probably Alex's second best friend. Best friend knew him pretty much same time as he knew Mike. They're all really tight. Then we have Logan, who is kind of like this new guy to the group. They don't really know him that well, but they genuinely like him and like hanging out with him. We have Cassie, obviously, who we already met. And then we have this other guy, Landon, who is kind of somebody they know, but like not for super long, but longer than Logan. They all sit down together and beginning eating their lunch. Mike asked Cassie how her father is since he knew about it but didn't really get to talk to her. Cassie tells him basically the same thing that she told Alex, that he was sick, but he's making a recovery, and she's happy that he'll be able to come home in a few days. The guys tell her that they hope that her father comes home soon. Alex brings up that he was thinking that they could all go somewhere during the summer, and he wants some suggestions. Mike brings up that there is that water park that is opening in the summer, and maybe they could all go together for a day. Alex says that would be a good idea. Corey says that he's not really a fan of water parks. Maybe they could go to an amusement park. Landon says that they could do both. He doesn't really like big rides, but they could always just both go to they could all go to these parks. Just do both. And well, they agree on that. And they say that, well, we can just find a bunch of things and just all go together, and hey, you don't like it, just don't come. Cassie asks if they can maybe go to the zoo or something. Logan kind of laughs a bit and asks if she's just a really big fan of animals. And Cassie just says that she just has a big emotional connection to them. That she likes protecting them and she likes working at animal shelters, and it'd be nice to go visit some of them. Mike says that's a bit of a weird suggestion, but he says it would be fun, and Alex agrees. He says that obviously they can't really fully plan anything right now since they still got a little bit left of school, and they'll have to find out days for when they can all go do this, but they all agree that it would be a fun outing for all of them. As the group continues to eat their lunch, we're greeted to two other characters who are coming up to them. We have two girls. They're both around 15, 16. We have Viola, and then we have Kelly. And she's another one of the main characters of the series, I'd say. Alex asks what they're doing since these two are obviously in high school, and so what are they doing here? Kelly and Viola say that they're going to hang out with some of their friends in the woods. They're going to go have a fun time and probably camp there for the night. And they just came to invite some of them, like all the guys. Mike says that his parents are already on his ass about skipping school and he can't really do that again. Cassie says that she's just not really in the mood to do that since her father's in the hospital and she would like to go visit him later tonight. Overall, they all kind of turned it down for their own separate reasons. And Alex just says that as much as it would be fun to hang out with them since he's good friends with both Kelly and Viola, he just doesn't want to go somewhere with a bunch of older people who he doesn't really know and who are all going to be drunk and high. Kelly says that she'll watch after him. He's not going to have to worry about anybody fucking with him, but regardless, Alex just says, he'd rather not, but he says he'd be down to hang out sometime with them on their own terms, just the three of them, or the three of them and his other friends. Kelly says that she understands and just tells him that, hey, if he changes his mind, just give her a call and she'll give him the location. Alex says that thanks for that, but regardless, he kind of says he's probably not going to call. And all of them, they kind of just say goodbye, and Kelly and Viola, they just leave. We'll see more of them later in the episode. This is just more of an introduction to those two characters, and, we'll see more of them as we go. The boys finish their lunch, obviously along with Cassie, and then they get up and start walking back inside the school. But then they're run into by this girl, Sandy, and her boyfriend Brock. And these two are kind of like really asshole type of students. Like they kind of like fuck with Alex's friends and all of them. And Sandy's just one of those like popular girls, typical type of bitch character. And they're just kind of being assholes. And Sandy kind of makes fun of the fact that Cassie's dad is in the hospital. Alex walks up to Sandy and tells her to just shut the hell up and back the fuck off before things get ugly. Brock pushes him down and tells him not to talk to his girlfriend like that since him and Sandy are together. Mike goes up to Brock and he tries to push him, but obviously it doesn't do much. And Sandy just tells him that they should just go, but Brock just doesn't want to let it pass. He says that he's not going to let some little shit talk to her like that. Corey just tells Brock to go fuck himself and just get out of here with his slut of a girlfriend and go home and just do whatever you want to freaking do. He doesn't really care. He doesn't exactly care what he's going to say or do. Just back the hell off and leave his friends alone. Brock and Sandy laugh and just call them pathetic, just losers and stuff. They're not like these super crazy characters. They're more kind of just assholes who are there to be assholes. Though there'll be more from these characters as we go on in the season. Brock decides to just let it go and tell Sandy, let's just get the hell out of here. And well, they walk away. Mike reaches his hand out to Alex and helps him up. Alex thanks Mike for backing him up, and Mike just tells him, hey, got your back all the time, man. Cassie seems to be a bit hurt by what Sandy said, and Alex comforts her and just tells her that don't listen to her. She's not okay in the head. She doesn't understand that pain. She thanks him for standing up for her, though. And they do end up hugging, but then the bell rings and they realize, well, hey, they're late to class. They gotta go. The group ends up splitting up and going to their classes. Later that day, with the school day ending, Alex heads out and goes to his bike, takes off the chain, and he begins riding home. And he's riding on his bike along the street, but then we see 3 cop cars zoom on by with the sirens on. This would be kind of an omen about of what's to come. Alex doesn't think about it that much. I think in his head it's just, some kind of drug bust or them responding to a collision or something. He continues riding until he gets home and he parks his bike in the garage, gets off it, and heads inside. And he is home alone, by the way. His parents, I think it would be established actually earlier when he was with his friends. I didn't think about that actually, but he would have established the fact that his parents are on a business trip in the city of Boston, so he can't exactly see them right now. And he's home alone with his sister being away on a trip in California with her school. So he gets home, he makes himself some supper. He just makes like some kind of like steak or something on the stove. We just see him sit down as he's eating alone, and he pulls out his phone and he's texting somebody. We don't know who it doesn't really specify who it is because it would kind of spoil something that's going to happen later on. But we just see him, he's just texting with somebody, and then he finishes eating. He goes to the sink, washes up, and then he sits down. He opens his TV and he goes on Netflix, and we just see like he's going to be watching a movie. Now, we actually cut to another point of view this time, and we're actually with Kelly and Viola. And now this would be a little bit before where we just last saw Alex. It would be like a little bit after her and Viola left where they were, and they're walking in the woods, just talking. Viola asks exactly why she was so, persistent on wanting Alex to come. Kelly just says that Alex is probably one of her best friends, and ever since her falling out with his sister, it's really like he's really just one of the only people who really understands her. Viola kind of messes with him and kind of makes a joke that maybe she likes him or something. But Kelly just says it's not like that. It's just nothing. She just shrugs it off and just tells her to shut up. Viola decides not to say anything else and decides to just drop it. Kelly asks how far they are, and Cassie says that Viola lets her know that they're around 10 minutes from where they're camping. They just want to be really far out in the woods in case the cops come, making a reference to a previous incident where they didn't go far enough and some cops showed up and two people were arrested. Kelly says that hopefully, yeah, nobody shows up. Viola says that as long as nobody has any serious drugs this time besides weed, there shouldn't be a problem. Kelly laughs and they just keep walking. And that's the last we see of them for the first episode. We pick up back with Alex as he pauses his Netflix movie, like he was probably near the end, but he gets bored of it or whatever. And well, he heads into his room and goes on his computer and opens up Discord. He hops into a call with Cassie, Mike, and Corey. Landon and Logan do not join this call. So the four of them are together and they're just kind of having a good time. They're talking about what game they're going to play and asking like each other like what they would want to play. I don't know exactly what games they would say, and I honestly don't even know if like they could use the actual terms Discord or whatever if this was an actual TV series, but I'll just use the name Discord for an easy point of reference. Cassie asks if any of them saw Sandy for the rest of the day, and Corey says that a funny thing that apparently Sandy and Brock, they actually went off and they went to the woods, and he says that it's probably the party or whatever in the woods that Kelly and Viola went to. Cassie just says that she doesn't really care about them. Alex says that they're probably just all gonna get drunk anyway. And hey, maybe there'll be some funny video or something. He's seen some funny videos at those type of parties. From Sandy herself even. It's freaking hilarious. Corey brings up the fact that he doesn't get why people kind of feel hurt by what she says, because honestly, nobody really likes Sandy that much. She's sort of popular, yeah, but at the same time, everybody who's not popular despises her and has no like reason to like her. Alex says that it's reasonable, but he tries not to get involved in other people's business personally. Alex says that it's just best to just leave them to their own thing. Leave the demons to their demons, you know? Mike says that it's a good that's a good mindset to have, and maybe they should just stop talking about it. They all agree, but then Cassie gets a ring on her phone and she answers it, and it's her mom, and we don't hear obviously what her mom's saying, but Cassie seems to be worried. She hangs up the phone and says that she has to go. Alex, Corey, and Mike ask why, but Cassie just says that she'll message him about it later. She has to go for now. And she just drops out of the call out of nowhere. Alex asks, what that was about. Mike and Corey say maybe something about her father. Maybe they have to go to the hospital or something. Alex says, hopefully she's fine. But they decide not to think about it too much, and they realize the time and decide maybe they just shouldn't game tonight. And it just seems none of them are really in the mood, so they just talk for another little bit. There would be some more conversation between them, like nothing super specific or important. It would just be more like conversation between these characters to establish more development with them and their relationships and stuff. After a while, they do end up hanging up the call, and Alex gets off his computer, and then he goes to take a shower. Obviously, we don't see too much here. We would just see his upper body, since no nudity, especially since the actor would probably be underage as well. So he cleans up, he dries off with a towel, and he gets out. He goes in his room, but as he's getting dressed, he hears a knock at the door. He quickly gets dressed and he walks up to the door. And outside, it's like pouring rain. There's like a thunderstorm. He opens the door to see Chloe, who is actually his older sister. Though we haven't seen her face yet, besides maybe like a picture somewhere in his like room or house, Alex would be surprised and he would say her name. And Chloe is covered in rain. And remember, she was all the way in California and she wasn't supposed to be back anytime soon. So what's she doing here? And she seems super scared and she's even like crying a little bit. She looks at Alex and says, "Something happened. We need to talk." And there we go. That is the end of the series premiere of Humanity. So honestly, I think I could have done way better with this premiere. I feel like I did stutter quite a bit. I did try to take as many takes as I can, but I feel like this is kind of just a good first start, and I'll try to improve in future episodes. There's a lot more I do want to say about this. Like, obviously, the way that I'm telling the story, this is how it's going to be for the whole entire series. And this is going to be the first season for now. I don't know if I'm going to do the season 2 I don't know if I'm going to do season 2 yet at all. I do want to, but it really depends on the reception and overall what people think about it. But this first season is going to be a 8-episode first season. And the next episode is actually going to be coming out the same time as this one. It'll be a double premiere, and then we'll be going all the way till February 27th, since there'll be an episode every Saturday at 9 p.m. There's 2 this time, but after that, every Saturday preceding that, it's only going to be 1. And February 27th is when we'll get the season finale, which is actually a day before The Walking Dead returns for the rest of the season 10. So there's not much else I want to say. Besides, I do want to give a big thank you to Dan's reviews. He and a lot of other people on the channel have just really given the series a lot of support, and I would just like to give him and other people a lot of gratitude for this. So really, thank you so much for that. Well, anyway, I hope you enjoyed the premiere. I will see you in the next episode. Goodbye.